What's good? This is episode 1 of Not Owen Zimmerman's third article. This is going to be a really inconsistent series, so be prepared for that. Not that anybody's going to watch it. Today, we are going to be talking about who I think will be the MVP of the 2021 NBA season at the halfway point.
Oh, jingle bells, jingle all the way. Oh.
Alright, so this isn't necessarily who I think is going to win, but who I think should win. And I want to heavily emphasize the value part, because statistics and wins are great, but when you're looking at a team that really would be absolutely destroyed if they lost whoever player that I'm going to be saying is most valuable, that's who should win MVP, the person who has most value to a team, if that makes sense. It's easier to understand when you're watching the game, which I haven't been watching games for like 2 weeks, so this might be really uneducated on my part when I say these things, but you can see the value that a player has and how they win games for that team. So, as you could assume, LeBron James will not be on this list, but here's number 3, in my opinion. My third place for the MVP race is the Nikola Jokic. Now, you may be thinking, besides being a very handsome young man, what else is he? He is absolutely dragging the Denver Nuggets in a very competitive West. They're in 7th place right now with a 17-14 record, and Jokic is absolutely carrying that load. His back is probably broken. He's averaging 27 points per game, around 60% from the field, and he's shooting 41% from 3 as a big man, taking 3.9 threes per game. That's insane. As well as being one of the greatest passing big men of all time, he is currently averaging 8 assists and 10.9 boards. That is insane, and he's also carrying the load defensively with 1.7 steals per game. Now, Jamal Murray, his little sidekick on the team, is averaging 21 points per game on 53% from the field. Now, that's not much help considering today's NBA, which is high scoring. There's a lot of people who are over 20 points per game, and 21 is not that good, especially when people are considering one of the best scorers in the league driving. And when you think about it, Murray is wholly an offensive scoring player. That's all he does. He only scores. And without Jokic, with the pick and roll game, he couldn't get inside the lanes to score. So, Murray would be absolutely useless without Jokic. And Jokic is still carrying him while blessing him with all these open lanes, setting screens. Without Jokic, the Nuggets would be 15th in the West. There's no other way of putting it. And right now, they're in the playoffs because of him solely. Nikola, good man. This is number 2.
I'm sick and tired of baby Stephen. I'm sorry.
My second place for the 2021 MVP race is Stephen Wardell Curry. Now, he's got Golden State at 18-15 and 8th seed in the West. He's averaging 30 points per game, 6.3 assists, and 5.5 boards. He has 1.2 steals, and he's averaging 42% from 3 on 11.9 attempts a game, which is always crazy, but he's Curry. He's making 5 threes per game, and he's shooting 56% from the field total. Now, we all remember when Stephen Curry in 2015-16 was everybody's worst nightmare. This man was absolutely ending people's careers and just staring them down, killing their souls. Anyways, this is Stephen Curry right now, but people choose to look over it because they're not the Warriors anymore. They're just the Warriors. Not the same thing. Not the dynasty anymore. Now, Stephen Curry is the sole reason that this team is in the playoffs right now. Much like Jokic I said beforehand. Now, Andrew Wiggins, the great promising prospect everybody had their hopes on back to like 7 years ago. He's being Andrew Wiggins. He's lazy. Still shooting 17.5 points per game, but everything else he's not doing. He's basically dead on the floor in defense. Kelly Oubre, although that man has the most beautiful eyes in the world, and genuinely I believe he is my soulmate, he's only shooting for 15.2 points per game, and he does not have that many boards, which, those are his things. He plays defense, he scores, and he gets boards. He's not doing that. Now Draymond, this all-around utility player, he sucks this year. He's old. He has about five in every category, 5 assists, 5 points per game, 5 boards. It's not good. He's trying to coach up James Wiseman, but Wiseman's still developing. So, as you can see, With Klay Thompson out and the Splash Brothers still basically on IR, just Curry out there, he is absolutely carrying, having an MVP season, much like 2015 when he won unanimously. I think he should win this year, especially if the Warriors get better and make the playoffs. If it wasn't for this next man I'm going to introduce, and he's my number one, be prepared. My 2021 NBA MVP is the Joel Embiid. Always trust the process. Now, Joel has been absolutely carrying the Sixers. Not carrying, but he's carrying. This big man, who has been very hated on throughout his whole career, has gotten the Sixers to 21-11 in the East. First place in the East as well. He's averaging 29.8 points per game and 11.3 boards. Along with that, he's got 1.3 steals, which is crazy for, not crazy, but very good for a big man, and 1.3 blocks go along with that. Now, I'm aware that the Sixers are much more well-balanced and have much more depth than all the other teams I've mentioned with these other MVP candidates, but to mention these few, Tobias Harris has 20.7 points per game. That's all he really does. He's a scorer. And Ben Simmons, I'm not a Ben Simmons hater. I believe he is a very great player and he's very overhated, and there's many people who are overcritical of him. He's got 50.7 points per game. He's opening up the passing game with 7.9 assists, and he's getting boards as well with 8.3. He's also got 1.6 steals, which leads a team. Now, this is a great supporting cast for Embiid, especially Simmons, who I believe is a very essential to the team. But something that's always going to remain true is that middle of the floor, the paint, with all these shooters on the Sixers, without Embiid, they are absolutely done. There are nobody in the East. And the East isn't a very competitive conference, but I think they'd probably be around 8th seed if they did not have Embiid. Now, Embiid opens up the paint, and he gets the ball to all these shooters on the outside along the arc to score more. Now, Sixers are known for not shooting a lot. That's one of their weaknesses, but they're doing that quite a bit this year. Now, Embiid opens up the lanes for Simmons, which is very essential because we all know Ben Simmons has no capability of shooting a basketball whatsoever. He's literally never done it in his life, and he never will. He can't do it. It's not his capabilities. Joel Embiid is absolutely carrying this team. He holds so much value. He's a soul of the team, too, which is hard to see unless you watch the games. This team would have no fight in them without Embiid. I believe Embiid is the most valuable player in the NBA for his situation, and I think that's what matters, and I believe that he should win MVP. Thank you. Peace.